Welcome back to class, everyone. Today we're going to be learning about the trial. The creator created the world. We're the builders. We're the ones who are actually, putting stuff in it and sort of, building it up. Most of us are currently preparing, most of us outside this world at least, are currently preparing for the arrival of the new kind of builder, the humans, and because they're gonna need to basically survive in the world we created, right? And we're sort of preparing the sort of survival environment for them. Yeah, the first trial is upcoming. What that means is we might want to focus more on... Today's lesson is going to be about the needs of humans, because humans need... They have actual survival requirements. They can't stay in water a long time. They have like a health bar, which means you can hurt them basically and kill them. You can't do to each other. But what that means is that lava hurts them. Some of us are working on some monsters which are going to be able to hurt them, but they can gain back their health by eating food. And additionally, you know how we can just break and place blocks instantly? Yeah, they're gonna need to actually gather stuff in order to do that. Miss Vector? Yes, Entity? Why is this the only room in the school that's actually built? You know, that's a good question, and really the answer is that I just never got around to building the rest of it. Yeah, as you might have been able to guess from that intro scene, I am changing up the way survival test is going to be handled in this series, in that this character that I'm playing right now will not play survival test. Instead, the survival test world will be a different world, and it'll be like a different character in the lore. Because I'm actually working on a bit of a Minecraft lore project of sorts myself, and I want to have that reflected in the gameplay I do for this series. That's also why I cut that other lore segment out of the previous video. But right now I am just working on the school's floor plan. Just putting in the hallway carpet, and this is probably going to be one of the last videos before I update to 0.30. Because since I'm not doing survival tests, this world is skipping straight to 0.30. And then I'm going to probably spend some time there, just completing the city as a whole, I guess. Yeah, this section of ripping out the floor shouldn't be too much of a hassle. Since it's just for the first floor, the second floor's floor is the ceiling of the first floor's ceiling, which is also the floor of the second floor. But it's not the floor of the first floor, because it's the ceiling of the first floor, which is not the ceiling of the second floor, but it's made of the same material as the ceiling of the second floor, which is the roof, which is also not the first floor's roof. You get the point. But anyway, I'm just filling out the hallway. I decided to use a bit more vibrancy in the colors for the hallway itself, because I remember going to schools where the carpets did have interesting patterns on them. In fact, what I'm going to do for this hallway is just do something like... And I have a lot I want to get done today. I basically want to complete this side of the map, the area surrounding the school. And to do that, I'm probably going to build a sports field, a playground in the back, and probably some just, signage like, "Welcome to Marvolo High School," or whatever. Actually, I think this is going to be just a K-8 school. Yeah, the hallways are done. Now it's time to do all the classrooms. The classrooms, I'm going to add these log pillars. You already saw what the classroom looked like from the intro, but... and also stick a poster up on. It's going to be visible from both sides, but it can just be read as two separate posters that happen to occupy the same space on the wall. Actually, I'm going to standardize the desks used so that each classroom has this sort of blackboard, and it's a bit annoying that we don't have any good black blocks to work with until 0.30 when we get obsidian, but that's just the way it is. I was going to have more students in the classroom in the intro scene, but apparently there's, in the server properties, the default maximum number of times a single IP address can join is 3. Like, you can change it, but I didn't. But I had it set to 3, and I thought it might have been a hard-coded thing, so I just didn't bother looking into it. So here's the front office. I have glass now. I can use that. Here's the front office. It's got like desks for like the main office like person, and like maybe the attendance office is over here. And, you know, there's like a printer, a stack of papers maybe. Yeah. And I've been working on this other classroom. It's just, you know, a normal classroom. I'm gonna have a library in the school at some point. Actually, I'll add that once we get to 0.30 and bookshelves are added. So I'll just reserve a room for being the library. I'll also build a separate library. Actually, no, I just want to have a library in a separate building. Like, it's associated with the school, but not in the school. Like, it's on campus, but it's also just, you know, a public library. I've also tried my best to keep all of the walls, like, interesting. Like, you can see over here with these offices, which are just going to take, you know, just have a desk. I can't wait till doors are added. Also, at the same time, I should be adding windows to all of these classrooms that I'm building. So, the first floor rooms are complete. So, here's the gym. I decided to build it in the gym state, so all of the auditorium seating and cafeteria tables are packed up over here. And this also has the frickin' sports ball field that every single school has, even though they never play any sports on it. Here's the front office, as I said. Here's a classroom. Here's another classroom. That's the classroom we started in. Here's this. I don't know what classroom this is. But this is the science classroom in particular. You can see because I have, you know, maybe a floor that's easier to clean up, no carpet, some shelves for equipment, and then if you head back here, we have the staircase, and we have the math classroom. Because it's smaller, you need less sort of physical stuff to do math. And you know, some offices, we have another office. So that's the first floor done. But what about second floor? Yeah, this is completely empty right now. So it's going to mainly focus on offices and just, you know, lounge space. Here's maybe like a student study hall area. But this is going to be offices. So, like, this is the study hall, maybe this is the career center, and this is just a classroom, since I want to have at least one classroom up here. But it's probably going to be something like the music classroom or something. It's like, Minecraft stuff doesn't need to use the bathroom in the first place, but like, Ancient Builders don't need to use any of these other facilities anyway, so we're mainly just building this for the walls. And in fact, the bathroom is probably going to be, you know, the fanciest room in the building. For some reason, the walls are taller in this part of the building than in the first floor. I don't know what's up with that. I mean, I'm the one who built it, but, like... So, yeah, so these offices have whiteboards, and also the standard desks. I started building whiteboards instead of chalkboards, because chalkboards basically end up looking like gray stone blocks without any black blocks to actually make them out of. I remember there was a weird thing in my school, like in my elementary school, where it was like you always start your letters at the top when they were teaching me to write, but like that's not how I write. The correct way of writing, say, an E was to just do all of the 4 strokes individually, which just makes no sense, because usually you do an E by just doing this part in one stroke and then just crossing it, but apparently that's not how they wanted you to do it. Let's also add some windows here, because this place needs windows. Of course, this looks out at the auditorium, so maybe we want to have a window there. Making seating is going to be so much easier in 0.30 when we have slabs. Actually, no, the social skills class is going to be here. The social skills class being a specific reference to my old school, which had a class called social skills, which was really stupid. So I'm going to give the social skills class this blue back wall. So in the back there's going to be a shelf for puzzles. Not games, puzzles. which is stupid, and that's the point. And then there's the various other unorganized desks that make the classroom look friendly, even though it's not. And then finally over here we have the music classroom. I'm just going to go with the standard dirt palette for these walls. I'm done doing anything fancy. There's going to be like pianos here. Let's make the back out of wood. Maybe a table with like a trumpet or something on it. Use your imagination. So here's the school layout of the second floor. One school interior, done. Well, except we need to ensure we put glass in all the windows. Anyway, you know what the school needs in the front? A big-ass clock. Because it's not a school in fiction unless it has a big-ass clock on the front wall. Luckily, we have the blocks to make that happen now. Building stuff that isn't on the ground in general is kind of annoying. In fact, let's use a different material than stone. Let's use cobblestone. Yep, now it's a school officially. This lot is reserved for the library. But over here is going to be, since the city hall is right here, I want to have like a garden over here. Maybe sort of... So I'm going to plant saplings, since I know that in 0.30 these will become trees. And I want to have, you know, maybe like a forested area over here. I'll also put a bunch of leaves on the ground and flowers and whatnot. Leaves and flower rows. I don't know the sapling growth logic for this version yet, but hopefully it's basically the same as in modern, in that I can just put stuff anywhere and oak saplings will grow. This is basically going to act as an extension of this lowered area here. Okay, so now the garden is done, or at least prepared for the update. We technically have mushrooms, but I think those have problems when you place them, so... But next up is the area out behind the school. Now, the school I went to has, like, this shaded area where sports ball happens. So I'm going to put that here. Going to be a bit annoying to build without shift, but whatever. And schools always have that one slide where it's like, no, you're not allowed to. What I've never got is why schools don't have swings in playgrounds for safety reasons, but, like, they have monkey bars. So yeah, that's the playground. I might add another, like, street back here with some buildings. Well, this part is going to be part of the school lot. It's going to be, the place where the kids line up after leaving. Yeah, I'm basing parts of this on a bunch of different schools I've been to. Like my elementary school, my high school, all sorts of things. It's in universe, it's a K-8 school, so it makes sense why it would have sort of a mix of those features. So that's the school lot finished. Now it's time to add the street going around here to reach the back sort of neighborhood. Which is just going to be a residential neighborhood. It's going to just have a bunch of small houses in it. So it's going to go past the library. Maybe some properties over here. Or maybe this is a park. Yeah, I'm going to make this a park. Just like trees and grass and whatnot. Now, in building these houses, I do want to make extensive use of the new blocks available. I'm probably not going to build interiors for them. Like, honestly, a lot of interiors as a whole will be a 0.30 project. So, progress update. I've done all the walls. I'm adding the roofs. I'm gonna make the roofs, like, what's the term for it when the roof goes up in the middle but not around? I'm gonna make the roofs like that. I'm just building the flat. I have no clue why flight wasn't a thing in old creative. Like, I was able to implement it really easily in my mod for 0.30 for Pathfinder. It's a 3-block jump. Why am I not making this? Question, do most houses, like, still have fireplaces? Like, do most places where people live still have fireplaces in them? like, in the 21st century. I've just realized that I don't really know this. It just, I mean, like, it feels like fireplaces would have become, like, less of an important thing to have in a house over time, with, like, new heating technology and just people generally being more tradition light on, like, Christmas and whatnot. But, yeah, I don't know. So what the heck is saying grace before dinner? Is it just, like, not gonna lie, if I was isekai into a family that did that, I'd just be like, say the word grace and just confuse everyone. So, I've done all the houses. They're all empty without interiors, but that's sort of the normal for buildings that I don't really particularly care much about. These are basically filler buildings, essentially. But it's nice to have like a little neighborhood associated with a school. So, I have finished the houses. So they don't have interiors, but they're filler buildings, basically. I don't plan to add interiors to them. So now I'm working on the park that's going to go over here, and it's just going to be a bunch of just hedges, to be honest. Actually, you know what would be cool? If I made a maze. Not sure there's quite enough space for a maze, but we can try. It'll stop at the lot for the library. Because, like, I have a very specific library design in mind that I basically build in all of my 0.30 worlds, and it takes advantage of a lot of the new 0.30 blocks. So here's the maze. And it just takes up that space, which is nice. So now we have basically an entirely filled out... Oh, you know what the school needs? The school needs a map. Because at my school, there was like a map of like the USA. But of course, this doesn't take place in the USA. It takes place in Marvello City. And so there's going to be a map of Marvello City on the ground. I like how that turned out. And yeah, so now this side of the map is pretty much completed. Well, there's the lower area of it, and of course there's the library still to do. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with this being probably the last episode we spend on 0.0.23a. Because I'm going to probably work on the rest of the town over here in 0.30. So that's all I wanted to do today. So goodbye!